outstanding digging for us relative to the financial side of Mormonism. Thank you, John. And remember, according to Mormons, no true church, no restored gospel could ever have a paid clergy, right? Well, according to D. Michael Quinn, in his book, The Mormon Hierarchy, Extensions of Power, stake presidents used to charge $1 per patriarchal blessing. Stake patriarchs used to charge $1 for every patriarchal blessing they gave. This increased to $2 by the end of the 19th century. Strangely, patriarchs started encouraging faithful members to receive numerous patriarchal blessings over the course of their lives. That's such a strange thing, isn't it? During Brigham Young's reign, bishops took whatever they desired from all non-cash tithing donations. The LDS used to submit like corn or animals as part of their tithing, and the bishops of the wards were allowed to take whatever they wanted from those contributions. In 1844, John Taylor limited bishops to 8% of the tithing being collected, while stake presidents got 2% of all the tithing collected by the bishops in their stakes. No paid clergy. This was freaking multi-level marketing profiteering, is what this was. In 1888, Wilford Woodruff established set salaries for stake presidents and set up committees to allocate 10% of the tithings collected by the stakes to the bishops of that stake. In the April 1896 General Conference, the First Presidency announced an end to salaries for local officers and to only pay the apostles of the church monies. By 1904, stake presidents were only receiving $300 per year for their work, and as late as 1920, some bishops still reported to have been receiving 10% of the tithes collected in their wards. So, in 1896, it was announced only apostles were to receive a set salary. Now, we know this is no longer true. There's CES members, there's all kinds of other people, 70, and church office bill, people in the employ of the church who receive salaries. But what about these apostles and their salaries? These special witnesses of the Lord Jesus Christ who are no different in their divine call than Peter and James and John. How are they compensated? First, we know they receive money from the coffers of the church. How much they receive, we do not know. Second, they can write books, especially if they're an apostle, and have a built-in market of at least 10 million people faithfully waiting to buy them. The higher they're up, for instance, prophet, the more people that would probably buy the book. Last week, I said that I would be willing to bet that Thomas S. Monson, current prophet of the LDS Church, was a multimillionaire, but questioned how he would acquire such wealth, having been a non-paid employee for most of his life. Someone called the show and said that they had heard that these apostles were conveniently placed on boards as directors or in different positions on boards, and that's how they continued to amass wealth as apostles for the Lord, but also as businessmen. According to Michael Quinn's research in Extensions of Power, page 220 to 222, this caller was absolutely correct. Now, to be a director in a company usually means 6 day-long meetings, board meetings per year, and a week's worth or more of committee participation per year by the director or member of the board. According to CNNmoney.com, the average annual director's compensation in 2006 was as follows. A director in the manufacturing sector received $109,000 per year. A director in financial services received an average of $83,000 per year, and a director who sat on the board of a service sector received an average of $106,250 per year. So Quinn decided to research the first presidency and the 12 apostles of 1984. Here is what they found. President Spencer W. Kimball, this was 1984, who had been incapacitated since 1982, was a director on the Bonneville International Corporation. First Counselor Marion G. Romney, who had also been incapacitated for years, was a chairman of Beneficial Development Company, chairman of Beneficial Life Insurance Company, chairman of LDS Social Service Incorporated, director of Bonneville International Corporation, and director of Deseret Management Company. Second Counselor Gordon B. Hinckley who later became the prophet, was the chairman of Deseret Management Corporation Foundation, director of Bonneville International Corporation, director of Deseret Management Company, director of KIRO Incorporated of Seattle, director of Utah Power and Light, and director of Zion's First National Bank, all while they were apostles of the Lord. President of the Quorum of 12, Ezra Taft Benson, was a director of the Beneficial Life Insurance Company. Howard W. Hunter was president of the Polynesian Cultural Center in Hawaii, owned by the LDS Church, director of the Beneficial Life Insurance Company, director of Continental Western Life Insurance Company, director of Deseret Federal Savings and Loan, director of First Security Bank of Utah, director of First Security Corporation, director of Heber J. Grant Incorporated, director of PHA Life Insurance Company in Oregon, director of Watson Land Company in Los Angeles, director of Western American Life Insurance Company. Thomas S. Monson, who is now the prophet of the church, was president and chairman of the Deseret News Publishing Company, vice president of LDS Social Services, vice president of Newspaper Agency Corporation, director of Beneficial Life Insurance Company, director of Commercial Security Bank, director of Commercial Security Bank Corporation, director of Continental Western Life Insurance Company, director of Deseret Management Companies, director of IHC Hospitals Incorporated, director of Mountain States Telephone and Telegraph Company, director of Murdoch Travel, director of PHA Life Insurance Company in Oregon, director of Pioneer Memorial Theater, and director of Western American Life Insurance Company. I could go through and name all the rest of the 12 apostles, and they were all on some company or another, at least 4, except for Russell M. Nelson, who was a retired physician who was put as a director of Zion's First National Bank. So I'm sure he had all the training for that. Not paid clergy. No paid clergy. A Latter-day Saint must go to the temple to live with God in the celestial kingdom. Paying tithing 10% is mandatory to enter a temple so as to qualify. Tithing dollars are used to buy up businesses that the LDS Church owns. Apostles are made directors of those businesses and receive director's compensation for their position. No paid clergy. Right. All right, let's